Why is the White House trusting the Taliban? Startling new reports coming in about the terror group carrying out mass killings, going house to house, executing American allies that President Biden left behind. The White House says it can't confirm those reports, but is still keeping the door open for cooperation with the group to get stranded Americans and Afghan allies out of the country.
No one is saying from the federal government, no one, the president, the Secretary of Defense, no one from the intelligence community, that the Taliban are good actors, right? We are not saying that. We will judge, and we want to make this very clear. We are going to judge the Taliban by their actions, and we will stay in close coordination with the international community on any steps that we take moving forward.
Joey, what's disturbing about this? None of it is a surprise.
You're exactly right. And to interpret all their words up until we got what they consider to be everyone out of Afghanistan, what they did, they backed themselves into a corner. They had no choice but to play nice with the Taliban. They had no choice but to ask for their help. If this report is correct that we had a chance to secure the city, yeah, that might have meant bringing in 10,000 troops. You're the president of the United States. You have 3.5 more years to end this war. Why do you need to do it in the first 8 months of your presidency? Why? If you don't want to hand this war off to the next person, then end it correctly and use your term to do it. If you want to give up some political collateral, do it saving American lives, not holding to some campaign promise that wasn't yours to begin with. It was the guy before you who set this path in motion, and you didn't even follow his plan. The Taliban, it's not about we know we can't trust the Taliban, and here's exactly why. We talked about in the last block. Most of their young fighters are coming from madrasas in Pakistan. They're indoctrinated, and they have a bloodthirst like no one else because they haven't even seen war, and the war might not have even touched their lives. So this is a romanticized idealism of radical Islam in their head. The Taliban does not have a choice to be this outwardly benevolent ruling class because they'll lose the thing that makes them powerful, which are those bloodthirsty young men who think they have to behead people and execute people in public in order to fulfill their righteous goal. This is never going to be a Taliban 2.0, and that's why. And they talk to us like, well, we'll see if we give them foreign aid. You know what a foreign aid looks like? A JDAM, a guided bomb right on their forehead. That's the threat. Not will we pay you, it's will we kill you. And if you tell you it's over the horizon, we'll do it from afar. That's okay too.
Jessica, even there was a headline that came out, it was a week or two ago. The Taliban tell Afghan women to stay at home because the soldiers are not trained to respect them. That was what the headline said.
I'd say there are limited gents left behind in Afghanistan who have been trained on how to properly treat women. We were talking about this last night on Kennedy, just how good everyone else has gotten at trolling, at propaganda, right? Like, these terror groups are fantastic at it. There was another statement the Taliban put out about what a wonderful partner China is. And, like, there's nothing that's going to upset the U.S. more than you're gone and I'm turning to my best friend, President Xi, over here. Now, the veracity of those reports, who knows at this point? Any money that's coming in and out of the country is obviously not going to be something that, the World Bank can look over. But we do, unfortunately, have to work with people we don't like all the time. And that's a whole range of, even Western democracies where maybe we would disagree with what people do, down to, unfortunately, terror organizations that are running a number of countries. This one just particularly hurts because of our investment in this country for 20 years and the speed at which they took over. And I've rewatched a lot of the footage about the 11 days, and that really does stick out as something that it didn't even see. President Ghani knew it was going to happen faster necessarily than the U.S. Intelligence apparatus, but 11 days is an astonishingly quick takeover. Sorry.
No, I was just going to go to Sean. It particularly hurts, and I'm speaking for Joey, having listened to him very carefully, the language, not only putting the Haqqani network in charge of security in Kabul. An individual who's wanted here, the head of the Haqqani network, wanted here in the FBI for being involved in the killing, including an American. There's a bounty for him, $5 million bounty. But the language used by General McKenzie of CENTCOM, referring to the Taliban as very helpful and pragmatic and businesslike. And what hurts the most, Sean, is the fact that now we do have to rely on this vicious, hideous terror organization because Joe Biden left Afghan allies, partners, and even Americans behind.
Well, to Jessica's point, we do have to work with people that we don't like, but we didn't really have to work with the Taliban like this. It was Joe Biden's decisions that put us in this situation. And does the White House think we're dumb and don't have videotapes or YouTube to go back and look at what they said before? I mean, the White House was saying the Taliban are our partners, but now they're saying they're not good people. Who was manning the gate to get into the Kabul airport when the 13 men and women died from our military? It was the Taliban. And so they were trusting the Taliban, but now they're saying they're not good actors. Who do you think for 20 years was attacking guys like Joey Jones?
Well, they knew it the whole time. They changed their tone because they knew it the whole time, and now they have ended their operation.
But the thing is, they think we're stupid. They can say one thing one week and something the other week and think that we're going to forget. It's like, well, no, listen, let's roll the tape and go, how can you have changing stories when the Taliban hasn't changed for probably more than 20 years? They're the same people, violent, horrible, and I agree, we should be dropping bombs.
Andy McCarthy prosecuted the terrorists in the first World Trade Center bombing, the monuments plots, and he told me the Taliban has never been anything but the Taliban. And he described the nation state, the emirate that they set up, and how that's very different than anything that looks like a representative government.
Yeah, and General Milley said he knows from personal experience they are ruthless. Now, whether they change remains to be seen. I think we have a few skeptics here among us today.
That's the lie in the whole narrative. Whether they change remains to be seen. Did North Korea really think Otto Warmbier was a spy? No, but that's the best version of the Taliban you're going to get. That's fine. You don't need to change this for my feelings. You need to do it so my 12-year-old son doesn't fight him as an 18-year-old. That's why I care.
Well, and you have countries out there like Denmark is the first one to say we will not recognize this as a legitimate government, the Taliban. So we're going to have to see. Of course, China is going to cozy up. Russia. We're going to have to see what others do. But what gets me is watching them, knowing they're going around executing people, that they are slaughtering people. They're killing people like a folk musician because they don't believe in music, and that's sinful and terrible. And we have people here in the United States saying women have it worse in the state of Texas than they do under the Taliban in Afghanistan. It is an 100%. Outrageous statement. And if you think that, I'm sure there are a lot of people who would buy you a plane ticket to go hang out with the Taliban and see how you really feel about that.
I don't even have words to describe a statement like that, Shannon.
Crazy.
And as you know, my mother would be very upset if I cursed on live television.
But she'd understand.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.